Affirmative Reaction Podcast. 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 Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
Jenkins.
Jesus Christ, I recorded that.
Well, you said let's do this. Honey pot.
So, how do we start this thing off? Thank you for listening to the Affirmative Reaction Podcast. Thank you to all, like 9 listeners now? Woohoo! Yeah, woo! But no,
Tell your wife, tell your kids.
For real. Tell them to follow us on Twitter at AR20 Podcast. Like the Facebook page, Affirmative Reaction Podcast. Like the Twitter, AR20 Podcast. If you just Google search Affirmative Reaction Podcast, we'll pop up. It's not too many programs that call themselves Affirmative Reaction Podcast. But here we are. Headline reactions here. Starting off with, I just figured out what this thing was, their tagline, and
Prodding?
I forgot it. It's like most watched,
the most trusted,
something like that. America's News or something like that.
I'm looking it up because this 2 weeks now we don't.
Man,
know.
I didn't write it down. I'm dumb, dude. I'm dumb. What is it?
They used to be fair and balanced but they phased it out in favor of most watched, most trusted.
Yeah, I guess
that's just what came up on Google. I mean, there might.
Yeah, that sounded about right. Most watched, most trusted. But here we go.
It should be right at the top, so we know.
Nah, it's not though.
Do I trust it or not? Tell me.
Fox News?
No, they should tell me if I should trust them right at the beginning. The most trusted. Okay, I'm believing this.
All right, here we go. And the biggest headline: breaking news. Prodding Pence.
That sounds so
that could
bad.
That could be read a few ways. Prodding Pence.
Wasn't he in favor of something that prodded gays electrically and tried to shock the gay out of them? Remember that?
that shock treatment?
Yeah, because when he first was nominated or named vice president, they were like, oh, he signed or co-signed this legislation in Indiana that would give shock treatment to gays to try to make them not gay anymore.
That's bad.
I didn't read too much farther into it because that's kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
Not the act, but just
the headline.
The headline's shocking in and of itself.
In this headline, prodding Pence, House votes in favor of revolution urging VP to remove Trump, symbolic move, impeach, vote lose. I don't want to hear anything about no impeachment.
It ain't going to happen. The Senate's not even in session until after.
Right.
So it's just...
It's posturing. It's just like they're
trying to see who's going to go out with Trump and who's not.
Right.
They're going to see who's going to turn
down. Who's going down with the ship?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to save your job or not?
What else we got here?
No, go back up there.
Okay.
Notice how they picked a picture and Nancy Pelosi has her mask on.
Right.
And Pence does not have his mask on.
The optics.
Maybe he never wears a mask. I don't know.
From
seen
my understanding, when you're speaking in the House, you don't have to. When you're speaking in Congress, you can take your mask off to speak, but otherwise, you have to have it on.
Hers looked like she made it out of her grandma's curtain.
He'd wear the biggest mask. What else we got down here? Big Dim's Little China.
No, Big Dim's in Little China. Talking about the Chinese spy.
Biden Swalwell boxer ties with prominent Dem CCP piling up.
They show that picture of the girl that came over from China to bang all these dudes.
Fang.
Big Dim's in Little China.
I'm not a magician. Oh yeah, I heard this today. Lawyer for man seen with Pelosi's lectern at riot says photo is problematic. You think?
In what way?
Did you have to go to law school to figure that out? He was doing a little presser today, and he was like,
the photo is problematic for his case?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For his client.
In and of itself, it's not problematic.
For his client, he was like, yeah, I'm not a magician. I'm not sure what you expect me to do.
You might want to get a different lawyer.
That is the definition of red-handed. Look, he even got his hand
I was
up.
shopped. I was photoshopped. What about the dude that had his pass for where he worked around his neck?
Oh, my God. What did he thought he needed his credentials to get in?
Just shows what kind of intelligent people we're dealing with here.
I mean, it was a lot of foolery happening. But I think we're going to get to that. We'll just share a few.
Look at that most unattractive picture of AOC I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
She looked like the Wicked Witch of the West right there.
She's definitely a firecracker. She's pretty mean. Exclusive.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of her.
Exclusive on OnlyFans. Parler CEO blasts AOC official who called for ban on app.
Maybe you should blast the Jeff Bezos because it's his servers who kicked your ass off of it.
Right. Yeah, at the behest of the state. You had AOC, you had Michelle Obama. I mean, they literally went after Parler for no reason.
Literally.
I mean, it was a report that showed there was no kind of coordination for the Capitol storming on Parler. It was all done on Facebook. And Parler was like, what the? I was like, what we do?
There was no coordination, but there was certainly a lot of people talking about what they're going to be doing.
Man, Parler was the Wild Wild West, man.
That's what I'm saying.
It was great. It's funny. It was hilarious if you seen some of the posts on there.
Yeah, it's no different than like a 4chan or anything. Anybody can post whatever they want.
I mean, it wasn't as bad or worse as 4chan though.
But there, you're anonymous.
That's true.
I heard on Parler you have to. I've never joined Parler, but don't you have to submit your ID?
You don't have to.
In order,
if you want to.
Could you imagine they're tracking all these people now because they submitted their IDs?
You got to do the same thing on Facebook if you want to like make posts and make ads that's like political and social and things like that. You have to verify.
Right.
So
did they think about that before they got on a plane to go to D.C. and do what they did?
I don't think they got them from all that facial recognition stuff and people snitching. I don't think it had nothing to do with the IDs on Parler.
But what I'm saying is, knowing that and knowing what you posted, and they have the ability to see who you are, wouldn't you think twice about posting, hey, I'm going to put a bullet in whatever her name's head?
Probably so. Let's get one more from Fox News.
When you start getting down to the bottom,
I know, right? Let's move on. CNN.
Woof!
Jesus, they can't. They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait.
What the hell is
this is in big and bold at the top of the screen. House
at least 20% of the screen.
House approves 25th Amendment resolution.
I'm surprised there ain't exclamation points.
Seriously, and underline. For the mob that stormed the Capitol, a lesson from Charlottesville. Oh my God, Charlottesville will never be dropped.
I don't even want to click. Don't click that.
I'm not.
I don't even want to know what that lesson is. That you're going to get caught?
CNN investigates. They swore to protect America. Some also joined the riot. YouTube is suspending Donald Trump. Amazon slams
What has he got
Parler.
left? Is there an app that can he do Candy Crush? Or I think that's even through Facebook.
I know, right? He can't even do Candy Crush.
He can't go to the Play Store, Apple Store,
nothing. Damn, no Candy Crush. That's fucked up. Man. That's fucked up. They
on level 532.
Dude, they banned him off of Shopify. I mean, not like him, but there was a couple of stores selling Trump merch and MAGA merch that they banned off of Shopify. And they're banning and taking away hashtags off of Pinterest. I didn't even know it was Trump hashtags on Pinterest.
I don't even look at Pinterest.
Like, dang, Trump people can't even post recipes no more. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. This is woman who falsely accused black teen of stealing phone tells Gayle King enough.
You know, I'd be interested to go back in time a week or whatever it was and see if it was a white woman.
It was.
Yeah, because I remember that. Now it's not.
Now it's just woman because she's not even white.
That's what I said when I saw the video.
Exactly. In the interview with Gayle King, she says she's like Puerto Rican and Greek and Italian.
She's a drunk?
Probably so.
No, she's got 2 DUIs or some other arrests.
Oh, damn.
It's like she's there to cause trouble.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
Like, just because it's your point of view doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, it still has to be supported by some facts.
Something.
Man. By some facts, man. But people don't want to hear the facts, man.
No, not anymore.
I guess maybe in good fun and like that pyramid you did post, some of those things you have questions about, like that shit was legit, but some conspiracy theories are just outrageous. I want to bring up something I feel like is a conspiracy theory, and being the black on this program allow me to impart the obligatory black sentiment. This notion of white supremacy is kind of gross. It's kind of gross because what it's looking like to me is looking like this psychological stranglehold that we allow white people to have over us. For instance, this Capitol thing. A bunch of white people stormed the Capitol building. A few white people were shot and killed. Or one white lady got shot and killed. Some other white people died. And the first thing that people start saying, white people too, is, oh, look at all that white supremacy. They only let it happen because they white supremacists. You know what would happen if it was black people? What? A black lady would have got shot in the neck, and
right.
3 other black people would have died. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm like, man, we can't even let white people do their own thing without it moving us in some kind of way. And again, the cultural institutions notice. They know that. Like, and to kind of bring it back to a little serious tip, that's one thing that, and let's just say all people, let's just say just Americans in general, but especially black people, that is near and dear to people's heart is race relations. And it's a joke to me now. They've made it a joke. The same thing with the Kenosha shit. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots and kills one white man, shoots and kills another white man, then shot another white man in his elbow, and we are talking about white supremacy.
Right.
What? And mind you, the first white man that got shot, before you can see him in the video saying nigga.
Right. I remember that guy.
And we are upset at Kyle Rittenhouse for being a white supremacist and shooting a white man who was using the term nigga. And and that isn't something psychological, dude. That's not something psychological.
Well, what about more recently the one with the iced tea?
Oh my God.
I think we spoke on it last week, but you need to bring it up again because the same thing.
It's the same thing, the iced tea shit. For one thing, the dude was the guy that smacked the white dude. So let me take a step back. For anybody who isn't aware of the situation, there was a white guy.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this.
It was a white guy, pretty hip. Let's just call him hip, to say the least. Saying nigga, not nigger, nigga. Like, what's up, my nigga? Where you from, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? And then this other guy who is a half and half. He's a ginger. He was a ninja. But anyway, he was like, "Don't call me nigga," or "Stop saying that," or whatever. And
did he say that? I didn't hear that.
I don't think he probably didn't.
I don't.
It don't even matter.
Yeah, whatever.
This white boy was using the term nigga not in a racial way, not to upset him racially. But the guy got mad and smacked him in the face with the T and roughed him up pretty good.
Very comedic fashion.
But the flip side to that, if that same white guy was talking about how oppressed that black man was, they'd be best friends probably. He'd be on black people's side. But he's using the same term of endearment that we use in the same context, in the same manner.
Right. But you own that word, apparently. You took it from them.
I guess so. We just flipped the context, I guess.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
No, that brings up something else I saw. This golfer actually got caught on live mic. And I saw this on Yahoo. And it said, I forgot the name of the golfer, used an anti-gay slur. And somebody on Twitter had picked it up and said, "Oh, I really liked your work, and are you going to apologize for this, yada, yada, yada." And you watch the video, and he puts the ball, and he misses the ball, and the mics are so high,
yeah,
you just hear him say, "faggot." So, first of all, is that a gay slur, or is that an anti-gay slur?
I guess it depends.
If you're talking to a golf ball, it's
so silly to even try to rationalize it.
I thought it was a gay slur. If you're gay and I say that, that's a slur towards you.
Yeah.
But if you're anti-gay, when I call you straight or something like that,
right, to be offensive,
that would be a slur to you.
Oh, it's all backwards, man.
But he's talking to his golf ball, and nobody was supposed to be able to hear that.
What if he was like, "Oh, nigger"?
So do the gay community, do they own that word, and now nobody's allowed to say it without just the same difference?
I don't know, man. I've been around a lot of gay people, and I've heard gay people use that term to be offensive to other gay people.
Right.
Like, stop acting like a faggot.
Exactly.
It's weird, man. That wokeism.
Now, also, that word has multiple definitions. Was he really calling his ball a gay slur, or was he talking about a bundle of sticks, which is one of them? Or some British people call cigarettes that.
Hey, son, do you have a fag?
So which one was he really talking about? Do you know? Or are you just going to be offended? You're just going to be outraged.
Outraged?
Because you heard a word and...
Outraged.
A word in the context you weren't expecting it to be in.
Right.
Or a word in the context you didn't want it to be in.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. But no, man, it's weird, man. The wokeism, the race thing, the sexism thing, the gender thing. It's I'm telling you, man, these people are playing on like the fella said in that Social Dilemma documentary. The these big tech companies, they take psychological training to understand, you know what I'm saying, what images to manipulate. You know what I'm saying? Just how they'll place a button on the screen will manipulate the brain. You know what I mean? And the same thing with, you know what I'm saying, with just media in general. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. And like I always say, they find the least common denominator that groups can relate to. With black people, it's race and racism and white supremacy. I've never heard white supremacy so much in my life in the last 4 years. I mean, seriously.
It just all of a sudden sprung up.
It really did. It started trending, dude. White supremacy is trending, apparently. And I'm like, where are these white supremacists? Right. I'm all over the country. Yeah, right. I'm all over the country. Florida, Georgia, Montana, Texas, Tennessee. Where are these white supremacists, man? And I mean, if we calling them capital people white supremacists, and the whole point is for the white people to be like superior or whatever, then they fail. Or dig this. If these people are white supremacists and they hate black people, Washington, D.C. is 71% black. Right. Why would a group of Trump supporting white supremacists go to the Capitol building because they hate black people?
I've seen white supremacists before. Mm-hmm. They have skinheads and dress in Nazi uniforms and have that sort of imagery, I guess.
Right.
But that's not the ones that were at the Capitol.
Nah. But hey, that's just my thought on that. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it, but I might, say that might have something to do with this mental health crises that black people are in and being paranoid about white people. And maybe I used to think maybe it was just like a southern black thing, but you see the same thing from blacks all over. Blacks all over. But the funny thing is, we anoint the white people who just say like white supremacy. And we follow those white people. So I think the white people, the white allies like Dr. Martin Sean King, they clearly hate themselves because all they do is talk bad about white people and black people. I mean, you seriously following this white man that's telling you how oppressed you should be? Right. You know what I'm saying? Just keep telling you that police are out hunting you. That's a fucking conspiracy, man. That is a goddamn conspiracy, man. I'm a flat out and say that's a fucking conspiracy. It's a fucking lie. It's not the truth. It's a goddamn myth. And if you encounter a police and you all fucking paranoid, that's your fault.
Right.
That is your fault, black man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's your fault. I mean, maybe it's because I'm just not in these old redneck towns, apparently, or what. But I've been pulled over by white cops enough all over the country. Maybe not like just all over, but Georgia, California, Pennsylvania, Florida. I've encountered white cops for doing some shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I've never been shot by a cop. And I know tons of black guys that never been shot by cops, by white cops. Like I always say, cops are assholes. I trust cops to be cops. And they usually give you what you give them back. So act accordingly. I've never been shot by a cop.
Or had a gun pulled on you by a cop.
I want to say that. No, I want to say that. Generally speaking, when you get pulled over at night in Bankhead, they're gonna come to the car they're gonna come to the car with guns.
Right.
Pretty much anywhere at night, they're gonna come to the car at least with their hand on their gun, or you know what I'm saying. They're gonna knock on the window with the gun and double dog dare you.
Right.
and people oblige. People oblige, man. It's all anecdotal, but on the hood site, these guys are pressing their luck, like, to the max. I mean, the mainstream media, like, you see, and we know this, dude. We know that we see on mainstream media what they allow us to see. So all they gonna show us is all the black guys who didn't win. That's all.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? But
or they'll cut out things like when they did the George Zimmerman thing.
Right.
And when he was arrested, he was booked. They deliberately didn't show the angle of the back of his head that was banged in on the cement. It was bleeding out the back of his head, but they deliberately chose not to show that part.
Mm-hmm. It'll just throw a whole kink in the narrative. And like with Jacob Blake, when it first jumped off, they just showed him walking away.
Right.
That's it. They didn't show him getting the best of 3 cops with being tased.
Or the 911 calls.
Or the 911. They just released the 911 call to that shit. And it's sad. It's sad. And the saddest thing is our vice president and our president went to visit that guy by his bed. And they dropped the rape charges. What happened to Me Too?
Yeah, there is that.
That part. It's like sad. It's like funny. It's all interesting. It's America.
Bunch of people getting played.
Yeah.
Like out of all the bedsides they could have gone to, all the children dying of cancer and whomever else in this whole country, they chose that. Why? Because they got an image to uphold. They got a narrative to push.
Because they on that social justice warrior shit.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast.
Ever since the pandemic last year, I kind of tapered off on watching movies. Mm-hmm. I was doing other stuff, I started painting and like gardening, like just doing other things, spending my time elsewhere. But I'm a movie person.
Cinephile.
So this year, starting January, which was a few days ago, I made it a point I'm going to start watching some movies again. Because, I got tons of movies, I just haven't watched them. Okay, let's see what they got. What's up for awards? Okay, first one I got was, I got to look this one up. It's called Minari, I believe.
Minari?
Madari or Moderna or...
Moderna.
Hold on. It's called Minari. Minari. No, not Mark Mannery. Oh, no. Minari.
M-I-N?
Oh, Jesus. Yes, that's right.
I'm dumb.
Minari. Minari? Minery?
Minery?
Mike Minery? You there? So I watched this. It's about a Korean family that immigrates to the U.S. Okay. No, wait. They were already in the U.S., but they traveled from California to Arkansas in the 80s. And he wants to plant a farm. And it's supposed to be autobiographical by the writer. I think it's the same writer and director. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I watched it, and I was like, okay. It's up for all these awards. Okay, it happened. I wasn't really blown away. It kind of happened. It was a movie. Okay, well, let's go to the next one. I'm talking 3 nights in a row now. That was night 1. Night 2, I watched this one called Nomadland. And it's got Frances McDermott, who's an awesome actress.
Indeed.
And it's about a woman that gave up a home life for whatever reason and travels around in a van and lives in a van in the middle of the desert. And I watched it and I'm like, okay, that's a movie, and it kind of just happened. And yeah, I watched it. It was directed by a woman. They made sure to tell me that. And then the third night, I watched one called First Cow.
First Cow?
First Cow. Now, I've seen the poster for this, and then my friend Jimmy said, "Hey, have you seen First Cow?" And I was like, "No, I've never seen First Cow." He said, "I've heard it. It's good." So I watched First Cow. And I watched it, and it just kind of happened in front of me. And it's up for all these awards, but there's nothing I would go back and watch or recommend to anybody. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, you got all these awards and awards and awards and awards. And it's like, this should be great. But it's not, really. It just happens. That one is also directed by a woman. So, here's what I'm getting at.
So, all of these were directed by women?
No, the first one was written and directed by a Korean person.
Okay.
The second one was directed by a woman. I'm not sure if she wrote it. And the third one was definitely directed by a woman. And I'm not sure if she wrote it. What I'm getting at is, this idea about inclusive... Listen, I'm all for not seeing every single movie directed and written by a white man. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I'm okay. I would love to see different ideas written by different people and directed by different people. But if you're just pushing it for the fact that it's not a white man and it's getting all these awards simply because it's not written and directed by a white man, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
I've spent 2 hours of my freaking life watching this piece of crap. I mean, and then you look at all the Rotten Tomato, the reviews. 100%, 100%, 100%. Under what pretense?
Right, and the audience score.
I've watched a lot of movies.
I've
watched a lot of movies in my life. I know what a good movie is. I know what a bad movie is.
Right.
Honestly, don't care what color skin is the director or the writer. I just want good movies. And granted, they were okay movies. But I didn't feel like they should be up for all these accolades.
Diversity and inclusion, man.
Just, why do I know that a female directed that? Why do I know that? Why does it matter? I knew that without even, looking into it. That just...
Right.
Written and directed by this female, why? Can it be this is great stuff?
Apparently, like you said, it's not good enough anymore, man. Or, I don't know, maybe it is some kind of meritocracy to how they're choosing. Maybe they are like, all right, we need a woman, let's find the best woman. But it's still something about it with just, all right, let's just find a woman. I mean, there are some stories and some pictures that, cause like you, I'm a movie person myself. I actually also try to fancy myself as a screenwriter. So I spent some time reading scripts, reading like independent scripts that people never heard of. And whether it's a man or a woman who wrote it, depending on the story, I might say, I can see a woman directing this. This might need a woman's touch or something.
Right,
like that.
I understand that.
But just saying, I will hope that is the basis, but I think we can agree that's more likely not the basis.
Those movies made me want to go back and watch better movies. Like Frances McDormand is amazing in 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. That movie, Nomadland, made me go watch that movie instead.
Affirmative Reaction Podcast. 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 Affirmative Reaction Podcast.